Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. I have been getting a lot of questions over the last 24 hours, including in the live chat last night. And once again, if anyone out there wants to be involved in the conversation, come to the live chats. We do one every day at 6 p.m. Pacific time, except for Monday and Wednesday when it's 5 p.m. Pacific time. So if you want to be part of the conversation, come on over. But a question that I've been getting is about the new gun control legislation that has passed Congress. And it supposedly has 60 votes already in the Senate. I believe some people have been putting out videos like that. Well, that's not true. It hasn't passed Congress, and it definitely doesn't have 60 votes in the Senate. What it's passed is the House. Let's remember what the House is. It's a joke. The House has degraded into nothing but a partisan battlefield where a bunch of, I would have to say, lower intellect people from both sides like to engage in partisan pandering. It's sad that the House has become that, but that's pretty much what it is. And it's sad that they control the strings for the budget, the purse strings, but luckily they don't really write most legislation, though. Most legislation really comes from the Senate. It can start in the House, but usually the Senate doesn't go for what they write in the House. You know, it's just, there are so many bills that come out of the House that never see the light of the day in the Senate because they are just ridiculous partisan garbage. And this gun control bill is one of those. And if you don't believe me, just listen to the comments made by Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats in the House. They said they know this isn't going anywhere. It isn't going to go to the Senate floor. It's just them. They needed to stand up and show that they're doing something. And I'm like, well, if you want to do something, if you want to save lives, how about you do something about price of gas? And think about all those lives that are going to be lost this winter if gas is this expensive and people can't buy heating oil for their homes. If you wanted to save some lives, how about that? But instead, like I said, they want to engage in partisan pageantry. And that's what this gun control bill is. Now, there is gun control being debated in the Senate. Does not yet have 60 votes, not even close. They'd have to get 10 Republicans. So far, they can't even get to the 3 they're talking to agree. So it's not likely to be anything like the House bill. In fact, what's his face, Murphy, that's running the negotiations, said that today the 21-year age limit to buy a firearm was taken out of the bill, taken out of the proposed legislation. Couldn't get Republicans to agree to it, which they shouldn't. So it's being whittled down to next to nothing. So far, they have admitted that there will be no assault weapons ban. There will be no mag limits. There will be no 21-year age group for buying a firearm, rifles, etc. So there's not really going to be a whole lot left in it. Like I said in my video yesterday, they're going to focus on, I think, the more insidious parts of it. Red flag laws. That's what they want to make the national call for gun control to be. We want to control it by taking away due process of citizens. That's the real argument. So I just wanted to kind of address the fears for people here that are saying, well, you're not talking about this bill that's passing in Congress. Well, the reason I'm not is because, like I said, that House bill, it's just garbage. It's theater. It's not going anywhere. It'll probably never be heard in the House. Even, like I said, people like Pelosi, etc., they know it's not going anywhere. They just did this to show people what they could do. And it isn't really going to be viable legislation. What we need to pay attention to is what's going on in the Senate. That's where it needs to get done. And like I said, they're still negotiating. They haven't even been able to get the 3 senators, like I said, that are Republicans that they're talking to agree on anything with them. Except for red flag laws. All politicians love red flag laws because it gives their little military that they got standing in every city, known as law enforcement, more power to override your rights whenever they feel like it, pretty much. So the reason, like I said, that I'm not talking about, because it isn't anything yet. The people that are saying, oh, they got the votes, and blah, 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 well, they're either stupid or just trying to mislead you to get views or something, because it's not happening yet. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but it's not going to have the things a lot of people, like I said, are yelling about. It's not going to have assault weapons ban, not going to have 21 age limit. It's not going to have magazine limits and so forth. So it's going to focus focus mostly on funding mental health stuff, which they'll never fund and never do. It'll just be theater. Red flag laws, which they want and they will do, and then some other stuff that will all be, I'm sure, very harmful to our rights as a citizen. So we need to pay attention. Now, a lot of these things are going to be happening on state levels right now, banning body armor, raising the age to purchase a weapon to 21. Those things, body armor, I don't really even understand that argument, why they would want to ban it. I understand what they say, but it doesn't make sense. And I don't really know how to go about fighting it because I don't know what the constitutional argument is there. But hopefully someone smarter than me will figure out how to take that down. And as far as the 21 to buy rifles, etc., well, that's about to be struck down on a national level as it advances from the 11th Circuit of Appeals to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court takes it up. If they don't, the 11th Circuit will stand in the 11th Circuit. Hopefully they'll take it up so it spreads nationwide, but which I can't believe they wouldn't. This is a very direct on the nose constitutional argument that needs to be settled. So I can't imagine the Supreme Court wouldn't hear this after it comes out of the 11th Circuit, which it already has. So like I said, this whole notion that they've got legislation written and that it's going to pass, no. That thing from the House, like I said, it's theater. What's going on in the Senate is far from finished. Once it is finished, we'll know what types of attacks they're placing upon us. If they can agree on something the Republicans agree on, I can imagine it's not going to be that drastic, but it is going to be, as far as gun rights are related, but it's going to be more of a surrender of our rights completely, like red flag laws. So let's all pay attention. And when something happens that's worth saying, let's be on it like, wild dogs on raw meat. But until it happens, let's not blow things out of proportion, because if we cry wolf too often, eventually people stop listening. One more thing I want to talk about here today before I go. I talked yesterday about how the arguments that the left makes against high-capacity magazines, actually standard capacity magazines, is that they'll save lives because, people can attack a gunman while they're reloading. Now, this argument based on time frames that they have pulled out of their ass doesn't make a lot of sense. Because here's what they're saying. I have heard them say everything from, the 10 seconds it takes to reload, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I've even heard one politician say the 10 to 15 minutes while they're reloading their magazines, you can tack them. Well, it doesn't take that long to reload. And carrying two 30-round magazines or carrying 6 10-round magazines, the entire time for reloading for all 6 magazines is probably going to be around 8 to 10 seconds total for all of them. Because you can reload a magazine in like 1 second. I think the left thinks that you're sitting around with empty mags and every time you run your gun, you have to take it out and pop rounds back into it. I think that's what they believe. I'm saying I think they actually think that. That's not the case. There's not a single one of these mass shootings, where they're really just mass murders, that occurred with a rifle, even if it did carry 30-round magazines, that couldn't have been done with 10-round magazines. Would have just been an extra second in between. And this whole idea that people are going to rush the guy in that second it takes to reload, it's ridiculous. When someone's shooting, you're not slowly approaching them, waiting for them to reload so that you can attack. You're getting away from them. You're creating distance, which gives them even more time to reload. And like I said, it doesn't take long. And if you don't believe me, just watch this video on how long it takes someone my age with very questionable skills to reload a revolver. Pew, 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 pew. Pew, 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 pew. As you can see, what was that? 2 seconds? 3, if you were being really critical? That's nothing like what they say. And that's a revolver. I'm reloading a revolver. Even I can reload a semi-automatic way faster than that. So this whole idea that, that time frame while they're reloading, that's going to save lives, that's garbage. Not supported by any type of science, any facts, anything. It's all based on their fantasy that it takes several minutes to reload a magazine and that people are just approaching slowly waiting to attack, which no one of any right mind is doing during such an event. So I just wanted to point that out to people out there that keep using that. We do have to admit to them that, 10 rounds is fine for self-defense, and it could save some lives while, from bad guys being attacked while reloading. I will admit that, 10 rounds is probably fine for self-defense. I carry 6 quite often. I'm not going to argue that point. That point is backed up by facts. But this whole notion that somehow bad guys are going to be stopped during those several minutes or just multiple seconds that they're reloading, it's ridiculous. It doesn't take anywhere near as long as they think, and people aren't going to have time to attack them in that time. Unless they are standing in the middle of a crowd and they start firing, it ain't going to happen. Even the stories like the Gaffey Gifford things, they're like, they got him while he was reloading. That has proven to not be true at all. So it's bunk. It's based on fantasy or lies, you could call them. But let's be generous and say fantasies. Because when you look at reality, it doesn't take that long to reload, and it isn't going to save any lives. And with that being said, I am out of here today. Thanks everyone for coming. I do appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Until then, I want to remind everyone out there to always carry and stay safe until I see you again.